All right, I decided we're going to do a brand new breakdown today. Actually, hold on one second. Go ahead and clear the screen. I think we're going to do EU today. First of all, I'm super happy that a lot of you guys caught this trade. It was pretty much a textbook trade in terms of everything I've been talking about, from the high time frame bias all the way to the low time frame bias. I really want to focus on one of the positions this morning on gold, which I missed, unfortunately, and also the EU position I took today, because both of them were very clear setups and all are just following the rules that I've been talking about in terms of algo structure, right? So to get right into it, let's do gold first. Well, basically what was happening on gold is the first high time frame sweep that we can see here that we mark in blue. Right, this right here is telling us the market is taking a long high time frame bias. One thing we do need to look out for, remember I always mention it, are the OBs with imbalance. As we can see, there is a daily OB with imbalance here. So we can understand that there will be some sort of substantial reaction from this OB. Why? Because this OB is what caused the liquidation of this daily low and this daily low. Nonetheless, we still have to understand, right, that even though these daily lows got liquidated, we can still keep going higher into the next daily high, which would be either here or here before reversing, right? So there's kind of a multi-bias approach to how we can view this. In the moment of time, yes, I would be looking short here, but seeing as it's stagnant, we can now understand that maybe the daily bias might take some more prejudice here. Nonetheless, if you were in shorts here, I would still be holding these shorts to where these daily lows down here, right? Nonetheless, if we want to be safe, the only places we can take long-term positions are really here or here at this point in time now, right? Now coming into the 4-hour, right, we're doing the same exact thing for the most part on gold, right? We need to look for all the previous day lows, right? Here we can see that the liquidity was expanding out here from SP1 all the way to SP2. We can see what is currently happening. The high time frame, right, is aligning with the external bias as well, right? So we already know that there is going to be some bullish momentum kicking into here, right? Perhaps this momentum right here started to end. What can we understand what was going on though, and why this probably already exhausted, right? Why is it starting to pop up? Well, let's read what was going on, right? We saw that we liquidated these lows. We came back to this daily OB here, right? And price decided to sell from this OB. We came all the way down and liquidated again external liquidity that caused price to do what? Come all the way back up to this extreme here, right? Wicks are imbalances, as we know, right? So this is where price can mitigate, right? Just follow the money. We came, liquidate these lows, come all the way back up, tap into here, come all the way back down, liquidate these lows, right? And perhaps we need to come back into this area here before moving back down again if we choose to respect this bias. We can also respect this buy bias as well, right? That's why we play ping pong with price. We really don't know whether these sells or this bias is going to fall through. We really don't know. There's no right or wrong answer here. And perhaps we can go to the weekly and see where the weekly momentum is kicking. And it would make the most sense that based on the weekly chart, right, we should be kicking in bearish momentum, especially because, oh wow, that didn't even get taken out down here. Either way, all these lows are equal distant lows. All these look like they need to be getting taken out. Right? But at the same time, it's kind of confusing because there's equal distant highs here as well. We're simply just traveling in a range. It's way too hard to tell whether or not we're really supposed to go overall long or short. That's when fundamentals really come into play, right? And sorry to just go on such a tangent, but in terms of the war and everything, inflation and whatnot, that might cause this to push up still. It only makes logical sense economically, right, and fundamentally. So beyond all technicals, right, the fundamentals are really what's going to drive this thing long term. All right, what can we do with the technical analysis that we have in place? Just react to it, right? So we're basically, what I'm saying is, here's all this order flow coming down that could possibly push down price here, right? Every inducement that we're having here, we can have a reaction to go back higher, right? These are all, those ping pong areas that we're looking to play price. We have no idea which direction is going to take over completely. We just know that if we take both of these positions, we'll eventually get the correct direction either way, right? Well, let's consider back to what was going on today, and I want to show you what was going on gold overall. Right, well, we know we were coming from this sell bias all the way down here, right? Induce these lows, external, high time frame, are all aligning to go long, right? Now, if we hop in to the 1 hour now and we figure out the rest of our algo structure per se, right? So we need to look at like a 2-3 day look back here. It doesn't really look like this third day is really needed. Let's kind of look back here and see, all right, this was once the low of the day, right? Kind of validating this whole extreme right here. We even have this previous day low. It gets swept, and we can see that that caused all this to push price all the way back down. Daily cycle, right? It is 3 a.m. here where we kick the Asian lows, right? We kick the Asian lows. What do? We come and take out Asian highs, right? As we know to be orange, this was the high of the day at one point in time, right? What else do we have on the 1 hour? Look, sweep at the Asian lows, which are also orange. This OB right here has imbalance, right? So we know we can look for what? Confirmation within here, right? Well, how do we know we can look for confirmation here? Because we took out highs of the day, as we know to be highs of the day. We have the daily cycle where we kicked the Asian lows, then took out the highs, right? To then retest this OB that has clearly what? Imbalance. Right, that imbalance is really powerful. That means we know price can come back or should come back to mitigate to go higher. Right? So let's come back into it. Let's go back onto the 15-minute chart, because it looks as if we go to the 1 hour, right? We've run out of all of our algo structure besides this right here, but it's not really needed. All right, we can kind of jump straight into the 15-minute here. Why didn't I draw in this OB here? I'm going to show you why. This, on the 1 hour, didn't break any sort of structure. All it did was come back into this demand right here. We never broke any sort of structure or liquidated any low nor high. We didn't liquidate anything, right? So there's really no point to take this OB, even though it got respected. We don't want to get in the habit of making bad habits, right? So even though it did respect it, doesn't mean we're going to continue doing it. The reason why gold did fall here, though, is simply because we did have this macro AMD cycle kind of develop here. We had to sweep, break structure. I don't know if you guys can see that. Sweep, right? Change of character, came and mitigated like that, back up there, and it ran, right? All right. Well, anyways, looking back into this, right? Still in the 15-minute, none of this broke structure. So there was still, no point for me to take it. But yeah, anyways, the main position I was pretty much looking at this morning and that you saw me putting in was right here. First of all, if we go back to the 15-minute right here, we can refine to this block, right? Now, why? Because we also have this right here being some sort of break of structure, but we know to make that dotted, right? That's what I make with my 15-minute fractals, dotted lines. Come right back into here. It's the same thing over and over. We want to wait for that first sweep into the POI, right? This is that first 1 minute sweep into that POI, right? We know this to be SP1, this becomes SP2, this becomes SP3. That is 1, 2, 3 drives to the low, right? We know that those 3 drives to the low are extremely possible. Right now, what this low created what high? This high right here. This high becomes your change of character, right? On the 1 minute. Now, all these other breaks of structure really don't fucking matter. They're really not needed, but I guess there's extra confidence to tell you that this thing is about the rocket, right? Anyways, SP1, SP2, SP3, we have 3 drives to the low. This low creates this high right here. This is your Chosh flip, right? Change of character. Anyways, we have now 2 POIs that we're seeing. We see that this is the extreme 1 minute block with imbalance, right? Now, what else do we have as a refinement, right? Well, here are your external fractals, right? Notice they do not get broken by either of these 2 internal fractals, which then make this internal range, right? In which price breaks out, retest it, and this is our entry. Unfortunately, yeah, I missed it this morning because I wasn't awake. Look what time it is. It is, I wake up at 8 a.m. This thing mitigated at 7:33 a.m., unfortunately, right? I woke up somewhere around here and was like, fuck. Anyways, I did see it start to dip back into here, but I didn't have my full out analysis. And by that time, I was primarily looking at EU. Am I upset about it? No, I still made a ton of money on EU. I'm really not too upset. But this would have been your crazy ass trade on gold today if you were to catch it, right? It just followed a lot of nice confluence, right? Everything came into play. The narrative was pretty much perfect, right? And it looks like, unfortunately, this just decided to blow up the party and take gold all the way back down, right? We can see that macro AMD cycle kind of form here, right? And it looks like price can to mitigate this decisional, something like that. Yeah, and take price all the way back down. Yeah, that's pretty much how gold was being traded today. Now we can kind of look at Euro USD for a little bit. Oh God. Okay, let's take a look at this here. Let's take a look at these fractals, right? Same exact thing. Let's look at the daily. Understand what's going on, build our narrative up to what is pretty much happening on the chart. So it looks like we came from all of this bias down here. We came and trapped all these daily buyers right here, right? It looks like we're trying to pick up some sort of daily momentum back to the upside because we're sweeping daily lows, liquidating daily lows, right? In which all that is induced to this little area of demand here. No, it doesn't mean I'm going to start buying here. I just want to look out for it, right? Because it's unmitigated area on the daily. All right, anyways, now that we have our daily pretty much marked up, I kind of want to put this in here too. This is still an OB with imbalance. Look how this candle clearly swept the candle before it, left a very nice imbalance. We have a gap, right, that was here that clearly got filled, right? All this telling me that this could get mitigated, continue going lower, right? Especially as we're liquidating all these daily lows. All right, now let's hop into 4 hour. Let's see what's going on here. Do we have any OBs with imbalance? Doesn't look like it. Let's come over here. Do we have OBs with imbalance? Yeah, right here. This one looks pretty good. All right, I'd actually drag this up just a little bit higher to that fractal high just in case, right? Because all we can see that all that's coming from this here. Doesn't look like we have any previous day lows or anything like that that we're sweeping or that's of importance. We have this previous day low that got swept over here, but I don't really think it's really all that needed considering we swept that daily low right there. So let's hop straight into the 1 hour now and take a look at all the algo structure. Now let's keep the Asian box, and I think people said it's been helping them. We actually did have our first previous day low sweep right here, which caused buying to come back up. It looks like we failed though to come and mitigate here, which would have been a nice trade if we came all the way back up, but looks like what price did is it came to mitigate this fair value gap right here. Remember, we can always react where we broke structure from, right? Especially there's imbalance or fair value gap here. I'm not sure you guys understand what I mean. Here is that break, right? All this area is fair value gap to, this OB here that hasn't been mitigated. But all price needs to do is mitigate this fair value gap imbalance area to react to go lower. So you could have started, shorting into here if you were trading Asia for EU today. Well, then what happened was we took out these lows of the day and Asian lows, aka the daily cycle, aka the Judah swing, aka the OG variant right here is coming into play, right? So right here, these lows get liquidated, and we know what? 50% chance of reversals or continuations, but we know that our high time frame bias is remaining to be what? Long, because we swept daily lows, right? So we know based also not only on the high time frame bias, not only sweeping previous day lows, not only understanding that this right here might be pretty much creating a kick to the lows back up to the highs, right? Daily cycle variant. The only thing kind of standing in the way that I can see first thing in London is this right here, right? That break and retest like London pattern, right? Because this also means continuations in a way. And this is an OB with imbalance, it follows the rules, right? And all that is pretty much order flow. So there may be a chance that we took SL here. Nonetheless, let's continue putting in our algo structure here, right? All right, so this OB right here is validated because we took out these highs of the days at one point there, which means continuations. At least in this case, it means continuations. Right now, well, let's come into the one, or let's go to the 15-minute first before we do any of that 1 minute bullshit. I only want to do the 15-minute for New York. I don't want to get into the 15-minute crap over here. 15-minute in Asia is just madness sometimes. Let's come over here, take a look and see if we would have had any positions, right? Within this area right here. Right, so it looks like price came all the way up into this area here. Our sweep was AMD cycle started here. It looks like these would have been the lows I had to take out. It did not complete the AMD cycle, so we actually would have been safe. Right, the reset of the AMD cycle would have been here, but it looks like we already came all the way back up and mitigated this area here. So we're actually safe and not taking SL here. Yeah, we got lucky we didn't have to take an SL here. Perfect. Come right back out to the 15-minute, and let's go back into New York and understand what I was doing the fuck over here. Basically, if we come to the 1 hour real quick, right, take a look at our OBs. Right, we can see that there, this right here was definitely an OB, right? Clearly had an imbalance, but it got trapped, right? Right here, came and hit everybody's SLs for the most part. All right, now let's come back to over here. These right here are also an OB. Why? Because all this is imbalanced. These are wicks, right? Wicks are imbalanced, wicks are OBs. All this is an area too. I hope you guys can understand that, right? It's a little bit different from this over here. This can basically mean that we can include that as well, right? Because all these are wicks. If you have trouble understanding that, just DM me and I'll try and explain it to you differently. Now let's go to the 15-minute. Understand that all these people got screwed here, right? But as soon as we screwed these people here, right, we could have hopped in. We actually could have played that algorithmically, right? Let's go into the 1 minute. Understand that we have finally trapped everybody right here. Right, this is where SLs have been hit. So, excuse me. As soon as those SLs have been hit, here's that sweep, right? This is the low. This is the high that made this low, right? And right here is where we had that change of character, right? Now, we do have two options here. We have, remember those inside fractals right here, right? And then all this shit right here as well. Or really just when we sweep, right, the inside fractal range, right? We can always sweep that inside range. And as soon as we just sweep it, right, we can take those entries. I'll just have your stops right above there. Right, so that's not a bad trade whatsoever. If you were aggressive, like these are the ways you could have taken it. Kind of like this, as soon as it comes back in here, you would have hit SL, then had your second position kind of right here, make it all back. Targeting, right, as soon as we kind of make this low here, I'm sure on the 5 minute that makes like a fractal. Right, so on the 5 minute that makes a fractal here. So your first TP would be somewhere around here when price retraces back to this area here. All right, so it looks like you would have maxed out at 1 to 3.5. Excuse me. Wow. Anyways, in terms of scale-ins, right, what looks like we have that AMD cycle again. Here's that sweep, right? Breaker structure here again. This is an OB with imbalance, right? And you could have scaled in more entries here. Again, go break even, first TP around here. Now it doesn't, yeah, you could have scaled in more if you wanted to, right? Came into that OB, look at this, sweep, breaker structure. All these are inside fractals, if you will, right? If you wanted to refine just to this 1 minute candle, you could have, and you could have taken more positions there. All right, market was very nice and volatile for that alt to happen. Now we came into New York, right? This is what I caught today, right? And I'm looking for, right, as soon as we induce these highs right here, I want to see that first sweep of the 1 minute highs, right? SP1, right? SP2, SP3, already 3 drives to the high. We should already know that this is going to be a pretty powerful setup. And we came in to all this bullshit over here, right? So we swept this into this very powerful 1 hour OB that was here, right, at the New York highs of the day after kicking the lows down here. We know we're supposed to have what daily cycle variant, right? That's the main one I always talk about. This is the most important one, right? There's so much confluence in this entire picture to tell us that this motherfucker is about a short, right? Here we come from this high to make this low down here, right? There's your change of character, and it's the same exact refinements I've been showing you guys over and over, right? Here to this fractal here makes an external range because this here and this here now makes that internal range, right, within that. Now, what I did was, the reason why I did this at the same time is I saw all this as inducement, right? This little bit of consolidation here as inducement. And that's why I refined to this 1 minute block up here that had imbalance. I was like, this is going to be perfect. Like I already saw it coming up to it. I was like, this is going to be really, really nice. A lot of you guys saw it too, and I was super excited. I was like, oh, these guys are going to hit it. As soon as this thing rejected, I did not place limits, but as soon as it came in and rejected, I started getting into my position, right? I wanted to see that rejection. If you go back into the chat, you'll see me talking about that. Hey, I see this. I showed you guys the, what do you call it? Pattern that was happening, right? I was like, if it comes up to this level, right, and it starts rejecting us, I was going to enter in. That's why I entered in and started sending it out to you guys. Right, and then this motherfucker melted, right? I was able to close out 1 to 11. It was pretty awesome. Anyways, that was that main trade of the day today. As you can see, there was a lot of opportunity today. Today was pretty awesome. You could have caught this. You could have caught that. Were they really, like, I'm not trading past 1 p.m. personally. 2 p.m. New York Eastern time. It's not really worth my time. But for anybody that wants to trade FOMC, no, you do not need confirmation bias like this over here, Koch flips and stuff like that to trade. You really do not need it. In reality, the instant mitigations are really all you're going to get during news events like that. I'm going to show you what I mean. We come to the 15-minute here, right? And we want to look what's been going on. Here are these lows. These get taken out. We come back to this OB right here, right? We can see what price mitigates it to go lower, right? Follow the money. We come take this out right here, right? All this has already followed the money. All of that has been mitigated already. This is just all order flow, right? That all gets taken all the way back out, right? This is now inducement to what? This OB right here that has imbalance, right? Now we need to look, and we also understand that all that is order flow. Right, let's come back into the 1 minute and understand what we could have found within here. Both of these equal distant lows right here. As you can see, here are those inside fracks, right? These right here. Theoretically, you could have taken that instant mitigation here. I wouldn't have. I'm not someone who likes taking instant mitigations. It's not my style, right? Neither would I have gotten this over here too, but to get this, you can clearly see that this is an inducement, right? I can just go to the 15-minute and tell you that there's going to be a fractal on it, right? Right here, here's those fractal lows right here that are acting as inducement. All we have to do is go back onto the 1 minute over here to figure out what it's inducing. Right, if we look left right here, here's that 1 minute OB with imbalance that we're looking for. All right, so there's your instant mitigation to go up to lower, right? I would have only liked playing this. This took this out. We could have played this, right? Those would have been the only two really positions I would have taken over in this one. And then this one right here. And if you wanted to play this one, look, it's very simple. Here is where we took out 15-minute structure. Here's that 15-minute OB, right? And yeah, I would have waited for confirmation. Let's see if we had it. Sweep, change of character would have been to this low here, right? And any of this, right? So here's your inside fractal, right? It's this. And it looks like I decided to use it as inducement, right? And as we know, that would be our second entry there. It stops right above here. That's how we blame that. So you would have hit SL originally right here, trying to pick that up, and then you would have hit this right back into a 1 to 3. And if you were lucky, you could have gotten these two positions here. I wouldn't have taken them. They're not my cup of tea. But anyways, we came. Oh no, my computer's starting to freeze. There's a misclicking too many buttons over here. There we go. All right. Anyways, price did come all the way back into this OB here, which caused what? This algo structure got taken out, that liquidity got taken out. If we come into this, though, we can see that we had no, well, I guess we did have some sort of AMD cycle because we had the sweep of, this was the last sweep of the 1 minute lows in the POI. And this right here was the high that made that low. So in reality of things, this is a true AMD cycle, regardless of how it looks, right? Here's the sweep, break of structure. And then what are we looking for? That those inside fracks, which are here, right? Because these are inside of what? These external ones here. I mean, it's the same setup. It just looks funky, but it is in reality the same thing. And you could have refined at this 1 minute block with imbalance, right? That's your 1 minute refinement you truly want. I mean, I'm not always taking these 1 minute refinements, but you know, I would probably take that whole inside range, but you know, I guess they work sometimes, right? And look, you just follow the money, right? As you can see, this gets taken out here. And what do? We look for those. I mean, they're not really inside fracks, but we need to now look internally and find those structure points, right? That are causing 1 minute OBs here. Here's that 1 minute OB, right? That caused this break of structure. There is a break of structure here. Here's that 1 minute OB with imbalance, right? That caused this buying to occur right here. Look, here's this break of structure here, but look, there's no 1 minute OB with imbalance, so we don't take anything here, right? And that's why this had a reaction. This also swept 1 minute highs, right? This is still following order flow. If we come back in to see this starting to have some sort of momentum shift here, right? Look, order flow now starts to kick in, right? Here's what's funny. Here's that BOS, right? 1 minute with imbalance, right? You can see nothing's mitigating it till here. We could have taken positions right back into here. And that's really just how you algo trade, right? You're just reading the price action. I'm reading every little thing. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I hope you guys learned something new today in this breakdown. I mean, there's always something somewhat new. I mean, really everything in terms of analytics is the exact same in every single breakdown. Hopefully most of you guys can realize that by now. The only thing that's different really is psychological clarity for the most part, right? Like as you just saw over here, this was the most fucked up AMD cycle I've ever seen, but it worked, right? And the criteria from an algorithmic structure standpoint, algorithmic liquidity standpoint, it's all relatively the same. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's breakdown. I'm going to send this out shortly.